Welcome everyone to Talladega Superspeedway for the Superspeedway Kings opening event here at Talladega. I'm your host, Rick Souza. I'm joined here in the booth by my co-host, Jeff Needy. We're here to bring you probably the most exciting Superspeedway event you've ever seen here. This fabulous event is brought to you by Wow Video Tours, over-the-top graphics, and Fort Worth Screen Printing. Right now, we're watching qualifying right now, and we've had a number of drivers start and get out there. They've got one lap to qualify, so we'll bring you up the tower to kind of get you a feel as to what we're seeing here with these drivers. And as soon as we get some times up on the board, we'll give you that information.
Rick Seabrain's out there running right now, getting his qualifying laps in. It's I've heard drivers talk about how it's really, when time comes to qualify, it's all about the setup. The driver's along for the ride. So hopefully Rick's got his setup put together, and coming into the pits now, 55-13. That's not a bad starting run.
So this is a league where it's an open setup, and for those who are uninitiated with what that means, is that's the driver or the teams, they create their own setup. They are able to tweak and tune and everything from caster and camber and wedge and all those things you may have heard about on a regular NASCAR event. These teams and individuals can tune their car to whatever feels good for them. And with a super speedway like Talladega, man, every little tweak counts. So we're in for a fun broadcast.
That is for sure, Rick. Gary Jenkins has a provisional pole right now with a 55 flat. Gary's from the Carolinas, and he's got his run in, both of his laps in right now, 55.005 in that 90 truck.
So right now, I think we've got over 39 entries tonight. We've got a lot of entries here for you folks. Should be a very interesting evening. Let's take a peek at just what we're looking at from a race information, and we'll get a feel for that just in a second.
While you're getting set for that, look at Rick McKinney in the 029 car, 2/100ths of a second off of Jenkins' time. That's just that's faster than you can blink.
So for tonight, the temperature is pretty chilly, so that's a very positive thing here at Talladega. That will make for a faster race. You've got 77 laps. They've got one qualifying lap, a couple quick repairs. So if they've got a damaged vehicle, they can pull it back off the truck, and an unlimited set of tires. But here at Talladega, tires is not quite the big deal. So we'll just see how that plays out.
That cool temperature and cloudy skies, though, I think that's going to make for a fast race. You can see it from qualifying times. Man, just between first and, wow, how many guys with a 59.09? I mean, first and the 12th place, just barely a tenth of a second.
It's
difference.
it's amazing.
Yeah. That's when these guys get to drafting, that's going to be really interesting. It's all going to come down to who can see the air, like they used to say about Dale Earnhardt. He could see the air. It's going to come down to who can see the air tonight and who can really make that air work for their truck the best.
All right, so we're gridding up, and we'll bring you that grid.
Good looking shot of the iRacing pace car there.
So here we got Gary Jenkins is on the pole. Got Rick McKinney on the outside, Gabe Butler in third, Jimmy Crow is in fourth, Robert DuPont the third is in fifth, Matt Swope from the IWM iRacing Warriors Motorsports League is in sixth, Dean Wilkinson is in seventh, Al Cena is in eighth, Seth Grover in ninth, James Mohan is in 10th. Jeff, want to pick up the rest?
Dude Conrad is in the 11th spot. Robert Rock in the 171 in 12th. And I'm waiting for the graphic to change. There we go. Now I can see it.
Oh, hang on. We just went ahead a little too far.
We'll have to get the guys in the truck to do a little correction there.
There we go.
James Mayer in 13th place, followed by Rick Sebrands in 14th. Rick is the winningest driver in this league, so it's going to be interesting to see him come from 14th, and I think he's going to be trying to make his way to the top. Mike Rimkus in 15th, Randy Miner in the 101 car in 16th, Eric Laurie 17th, Mark Mann 18th, J.D. Crow in 19th, and in the 20 car, Daniel Lewis also in 20th position.
In 21st, David Overstreet. 22nd is Jimmy Reynolds. 23rd is Tom Dixon. 24th is Anthony English. 25th is Jimmy Crawford. 26th is Luke Gray. 27th is Brian Wang. 28th is Shane Posey. 29th is Zachary Workman. And 30th is Brian Rainville.
Great field here tonight. Giovanni Ochapinti in the 000 car in 31st, Tracy Weaver 32nd, Kevin Lee in the 11 in 33rd, Jorge Rincon in 34th, and Richard Sanchez 35th, Edward Fielder 36th, Todd Seibels in 37th, and rounding out the field as they make their parade laps right now, James Peterson in the 128 car.
All right, that pretty much is our field for tonight.
Man, I am looking forward to seeing these guys. When we worked their practice race last week, I was really impressed with the way these guys run super speedways.
It was just amazing. I saw just fabulous drafting and just really good, not only just sportsmanship, but craftsmanship, and that means race craftsmanship in being able to work through, to draft. Just really impressive.
These guys really showed patience, I thought, last week, too. Pretty much yellow flag free, and they saved all their bumping and grinding until the end.
They really did. It was a blast to watch. So we're looking forward to this. We're about to get this race underway. The pace car has dropped off the track, and we're entering the Geico restart zone. We'll just see how our leader, Gary Jenkins, releases this field. He is the control car.
Flag is flying.
Green flag. We are underway. That top line got a pretty good jump.
Boy, I'll say. And drops down in front.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of that, especially in these early laps here, as we begin to see cars begin to figure out where they want to run, how their setup is working. Are they better on the low side? Are they better on the high side? My guess is we'll be 3 wide soon enough with these guys.
Yeah, Rick McKinney off to an early lead.
Wrecking. There's already an incident.
Trouble in the back.
Car is spinning.
My remarks about patience, right?
Yep. Yellow flag did not fly. I'm not sure. Of course, this is one of those leagues where I think there was Anthony English and Giovanni Ochapinti who was involved in that incident, but we did not. A yellow flag did not come out. We're still under green flag. So as I said earlier, we are now 3 wide.
Yeah, a lot of confusion in the back because those guys were expecting a yellow flag, and when it didn't come out, there was a lot of radio chatter going on about that. But Rick McKinney's still in the lead, but that second line and now a third line formed up, like you mentioned, Rick, and Some good racing going on here.
It looks like Matt Swope has now been the de facto leader of that middle groove. The car of Jimmy Crow dropped down into first to lead a lap. I think he'll lead the first lap.
Yep, he got in front of Rick McKinney there and got it enough in front of him that his spotter cleared him and he dropped down to that lower lane. That lower lane seems to be the best organized at this point in the run. And those two outer lanes are having trouble keeping up.
Well,
and the caution's out now.
Yeah, I think there was Luke Gray and Eric Lurie. I'll have to go back and take a peek and see just what happened there. So caution is out. Let's see if we can. Oh, there it was. Let's back it up a little bit here. Let's try to get a better shot.
That car in the center just got loose on his own, it looked like.
Well, again, when you're creating your own setups, the opportunity for...
Whoa, maybe not.
Maybe not.
There it was. There's the contact.
Yep. It looks like the 46 got a little bit of help and was spun down. And then a little bit of drama behind. Number of cars began to...
People trying to get out of the way. And
Yep. So we've got
fighting over real estate there.
Absolutely.
The 101 started to spin and then blinked out. There, he's back again.
Yep. And unfortunately, he got collected as well. So, well, a little bit of drama here at the beginning. We'll go back to live action.
A few laps of yellow here while the field gets sorted out. They'll line back up. I'll be surprised if we see anybody coming in yet. Only 4 laps into this run.
Yeah, so that goes back to what we've talked about in the past, and that is, the keys to this event. And this is one of those tracks where it is about strategy. What we saw earlier in their practice was there wasn't a whole lot of cautions, and actually we got more takers.
They're making a liar out of me on about every lap here.
Well, I think
everybody coming.
Yeah, well, I think this is top off fuel.
Yeah.
And it's 77 laps. Everybody's expecting long green flag runs. So if the leader goes in for fuel, you better go as well.
Yeah, poor pace car's out there all by himself. Guys are starting to exit pit road, get back out there now. Let's see what order they come out in.
It was definitely a fuel-only stop for these guys. All those times are in the sub 6 seconds on pit road. Of course, any of those guys that had damage, they came in anyways because this league does give you a couple of quick repairs.
That really is something. Too bad you can't do that in real life. But boy, in iRacing, if you can get a 1 or 2 quick repairs in a race, that kind of balances out being caught in somebody else's problem.
So as the field begins to get back to getting back in order, we will make some shout outs and talk to you again. This is the Super Speedway Kings here at Talladega. This league is brought to you by Wow Video Tours, Over the Top Graphics, and Fort Worth Screen Printing. Those sponsors are what makes these races possible. They work with the league organizers and help to put together, because there's a cost to doing something like this, and these could not happen without the benefit of and their league sponsors. So.
Looks like Mark Mann out there in front. Cobblesville, New York. That's one of the things I love about iRacing is I've made so many friends, you included, Rick, that from all parts of the country that you would have never met without iRacing. All of a sudden you get together, you race a little bit, you get in a league together, and there's just a real community of guys and gals that love racing. And it's an opportunity for everyone to get out and scratch that itch.
So what we're seeing is a little bit of what we had talked about earlier. We're seeing a number of guys come back down pit road to do what? To top off their tanks, to take another sip of that fuel, so that if this does stay out green flag race, under green flag conditions, they can continue to stay on the track. So these are like 2 and 3 and 4 second pit stops as these guys come back in here on lap 6 and take more fuel.
One of the interesting things about plate racing on super speedways too is coming in and out of the pits and gaining a spot or losing a spot doesn't necessarily mean that much, because if you can play the air right, then you can make that up and not have any difficulty doing so.
Well, and some of this is frankly, it's your best guess. You're gambling because there are things that are in your control and things that are not in your control. So what you can't control is someone else spinning out or having an incident on the track that then causes your pit strategy to kind of get rejumbled. But as a driver, you've always got to be cognizant of where am I at? What's my fuel's condition? How many laps are left? How many laps am I going to get on a tank of fuel, and do I have a pit partner? Because that's the second key to this event, is you can never, ever go into the pits on your own, especially under green flag conditions.
Boy, that is the truth. You will lose the draft so fast and not have any help, and you just sink further and further behind. Rick McKinney got in and out quickly. He's in first place now. He's the control car up in that outside groove.
I think Gary Jenkins in the 90 is down below. Lights are off on the pace car, and we are about to go back to green flag racing. So now our control car is the 29029, or maybe it's the 90. Can't really tell.
We'll see who goes first.
Yeah. Well, it's the 029.
Calling Rick McKinney, but
yeah, it's the 029 on the low side.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was an odd start. So we're under green flag conditions. It looked like the 90. Now, of course, I'm not sure if this league has a choose rule. We'll find that out. But that may have been the case. That 90 may have been the control car. So that being said, we're back under green flag, and you know what? We're entering the first turn, second turn, and we've got 3 wide. So again, I'm Rick Souza, and I'm joined here in the booth by Jeff Nini. We are with IWM Broadcast Network, and we're here bringing you the Super Speedway Kings at Talladega. This is their opener event here. This is a league that is all super speedways every Tuesday night. So if you're a fan of plate racing at Daytona and here at Talladega, and importantly the trucks, come out and watch. There's a lot of drivers, a lot of action, some just fabulous racing. So and demonstrating that, we are 3 wide here at Talladega.
Yeah, the 88 truck of Gabe Butler got a jump back there. Now he's in the lead and doing a great job up there in front of Rick McKinney. Somebody's wrecking in turn 2, I heard on the radio. Here we are on lap 8.
We are back under caution.
Our second caution.
That's James Mayer, I think, that was involved in that. And Dude Conrad was possibly involved. Let's go back to that incident in a second. Let's get the truck to take us back and our replay. Yep, we think we happened just upon it. Let's kind of back up a little bit and let's see if we can get a different angle. Let's see if this tells us what we want to see here.
Yeah, that's James Mayer in the 95 truck.
So way up ahead.
Up on the. That's why those guys were down on the apron. Something happened up there on the wall. got two guys get into the wall, and then everybody starts jumping around to try to miss them.
I could mistake him, but I think that's the 071 truck of Eric Laurie. Let's let this kind of continue here. So he comes down, he taps the car beneath him, but he gets control back. He does get into the side of the 16. That's Jimmy Crow. And then those guys that went down to the apron, this is James Mayer. He tries to save it, but comes back up onto the racing surface, and his 95 just begins to spin. Keeps it off the wall. Hopefully he doesn't...
55 sneaks by there.
Oh.
Yeah, he got lucky a couple times there.
Yeah, there were a few other cars that were involved in that incident, but very interesting, very interesting. All right, so we've got a lot of cars coming down pit road again. Pretty much the entire field is on pit road.
I'm guessing that we're going to see a mix here. Guys that were spinning a lot are going to probably want to change tires. Some of these guys may just do a fuel only.
So we are at lap 10 of a scheduled 77. I say scheduled because this league does have some green-white checkers if we wound up at the end and needing a few extra laps to finish this out. But for the most part, we saw nearly everybody on pit road, except for, I think, Georges Rincon. Everybody took basically just fuel. But those involved possibly, okay, we are seeing some guys, we're hearing from the pits that there were a number of drivers who did take a set of tires. Might as well. It's unlimited with this league,
yep.
So if you've got the time to take them, might as well.
You got Jimmy Crow out there now who leads this league, does a great job putting this league together, and he's giving it to the drivers, telling them to straighten up. They need to start driving better. We didn't see this last week. They were driving the Chevy ARCA cars, but we didn't have, this is probably as many yellows as we had in the whole race last week.
Well, I think right now we've got, it's the first night jitters, right? You've got, you got almost 40 entries. You've got a lot of cars, and some of these guys are new. They haven't raced with each other. There are a lot of these guys have. In fact, just highlighting Gabe Butler here, who's leading this. Gabe has a history with this. He's the defending series champion on Tuesday nights, and he's also got 2 previous Tuesday night championships. So Gabe is a veteran out here, and while there are veterans, there's probably a number of also rookies that are first in this league. So,
yep, I think that makes a big difference. You get guys that are used to running together. They know what each other are going to do. And as we've seen, most of the action is taking place towards the back of the field. And those are generally your guys that haven't been doing it as long, or they're new to this league. And it makes it a little tough to get the race going. I think once they get things cleared up, that get the jitters out, they'll start putting down some laps, just running around, driving around, and get settled in. And then I think we'll see some good racing.
Well, the lights are off on top of the pace car. That means one thing, and that means at the end of this pace lap, we'll be back to green flag racing.
Looks like Gabe Butler is the control car, followed by J.D. Crow.
Gabe's in that red Guinness car, number 88. We are now on the backstretch. Outside of Gabe in the 5 is J.D. Crow. Behind Gabe is Seth Groover in the 02. And on the outside is the 20 of Daniel Lewis. The 90 of Gary Jenkins is down low, and the 171 of Robert Rock is on the outside. You've got the 11 of Kevin Lee. You've got Matt Swope in the 82. And we'll head back so we don't miss the start of this race.
Cars going through turn 4 now, tucked up tight to the pace car. Back into the field, starting to get it together. There's a little bit of stragglers back there, but there goes the pace car off down to the apron, and we're going to be going green here pretty soon.
Gabe is our control car. Gabe will set the pace and set the start of this race as we go back to racing on lap 11. This is Talladega, so there's that long run up to the Geico restart zone. We are back to green flag racing. Gabe held them up till the flag came out.
Cars are picking up speed, heading into turn 1, staying 2 by 2 by 2, just like animals going on the ark.
Two very organized grooves right now. Right now these cars are over 185 miles per hour. As we begin to put this lap in the books.
One of the reasons we may be seeing those yellow flags, Jimmy Crow was telling you and I before we went on air that back in June they did an update on these trucks, and now it's easy to get what he called a bumper hook, where if you get into somebody and you're not perfectly square trying to push them, that you can actually hook that truck in front of you and send somebody spinning. And I think we've seen a little bit of that tonight. Beautiful shot from the rooftop on the Guinness truck there.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very good point, Jeff. And if you're used to pushing, and if you're not familiar with that term, so what actually happens is that car in front actually cuts a hole through the air, which makes the car right behind a little bit faster. And so that car can actually catch up to the bumper of the car in front and actually push you a little faster. So that's super advantageous if those bumpers line up. But if they're not lined up, well, chaos can ensue.
Boy, can it. Now we're 3 wide. The 5 truck out there, it looks like, who is, can't see it.
The 5 truck is J.D. Crow.
That's it. He's was out there leading that 3rd line. Now somebody jumped up in front of him.
Super organized. So a little tidbit, these are open setups, and one of the interesting things about when you're creating an open setup on a super speedway is what happens coming out of turn 2 and turn 4 as you either begin your entry onto the tri-oval or on the backstretch. The cars have a tendency to snap a little bit, so you have to be prepared for that twitchiness that's out there, especially if you're in line with 39 other cars. So you've really got to be on top of it. We'll try to ride along with one of these drivers. Let's try to ride along with Matt Swope. He's back there in the field. Let's try to find Matt's car, and let's try to go inside from that cockpit. And this gives us a great shot of what Matt's seeing as he's driving along here. He's on that low side. You can see that little mark on his steering wheel.
As broadcasters, we're not supposed to have favorites, but you and I have both raced with Matt quite a bit in the IW League, and it's just been so much fun. I mean, Matt joined this league about 5 minutes before the race started, So he is new to these guys, but he's an excellent speedway racer. It's exciting to see him doing well and fitting in with these guys.
Yeah, this is a league composed of really some of the best iRacing speedway racers that are out there from multiple different leagues that all came together to form this league, and that's a wonderful addition to these folks. Their experience is just volumes and volumes, years of experience, and with what they're doing, running 3 wide like this, it shows.
It really does. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in the broadcast, but like you just mentioned, these guys are a lot of these guys anyway are the cream of the crop. Some of the best speedway racers out there in the iRacing world, and it's been exciting to watch them race. That now I think they're getting things settled down. They're up to lap 17. Nobody's moving too much, hitting people too hard, try to bump draft.
That's the broadcaster's curse, Jeff. Every time I've said that over the broadcast that we've done, or someone else in the booth, and we have doomed somebody to an early stop on pit road. But
let's see who I curse this time. These guys are still 3 wide. I mean, that takes a lot of concentration to be able to run, 180 miles an hour, 185 probably in these trucks around here. And it's like you were saying earlier, somebody just, 2 guys pulled out of line, went to the inside there on the apron.
3.
Now another one.
Yep. I think sometimes discretion's a better part of value there, and they felt that there was a little bit too dicey, or they just decided to back out of it, drop to the back. Especially if they do it with 2 or 3 cars at one time, they can still make race pace and still keep going. There's 60 laps left in this event. Lots of time if you're at the back to move up. If your favorite driver is in the back, plenty of time to get back up to where he needs to be.
Yeah, maybe those guys were listening to our broadcast and they heard me say how good they were doing, and they thought, something's coming. So they went down to the apron and backed out of it. They're tagging along in the back now, but I know they'll get caught up again.
So we are tight here. There's a little bit of dancing a little bit back and forth. That tends to happen. There's a lot of impact with aero, and that's, as you could well imagine, as a car goes through that turn at 187 miles an hour, there's a lot of air that can be pushed not only over the top of the car, but sideways. And that bit of impact with that aerodynamic sideways affects not only your car, the car behind you, but the car beside you. And if you're in that middle groove, you are feeling it from both sides.
That's the spot I always hate running, is that middle groove. Gabe Butler, our past season champion, is one of those 3 trucks that pulled out and went to the back. I think you were right. Gabe saw something he didn't like and said, I'm going to the back and wait this part out.
So I'm keeping an eye on that 11 car of Kevin Lee. There's a little bit of, he certainly is looking for a better position as he's working through that. He is in the middle lane, so just keeping an eye on, I think he may have moved up to the high side. We'll keep an eye on that. Nope, he's still in the middle lane behind the 20. We'll keep an eye on that.
We were talking earlier about the draft, and you gave a great explanation of it. That was one of the things that surprised me when I ran my first several speedway races, is how much your speed increases. I mean, you're increasing your speed when you get into a draft of 3 or 4 cars. Your speed can go up 7, 8 miles an hour, sometimes more. And doesn't sound like much when you're in the 180s or 185, somewhere in there, but it does make a big difference. And 7, 8 mile an hour is a good overtake speed on a car.
Well, we continue to show the way around. JD Crew is currently showing right now out front. Rick Seabrens is there as well. They're swapping that lead depending on which line runs up further to the front, which gets the better run. That 4 car of Rick Sebren's was in the lead towards the through the turn, but as they flattened out, now that lower line kicks in. And that middle lane, that's the 02 of Seth Groover, pokes his nose out. And
yeah, the 4 car of Rick Sebrands is up there in the top line. And Rick's the guy that we were talking about earlier, has the most wins, 2-time champ, most wins in this series. And he's found his way to the front and making a charge in that 3rd line.
So you may hear us talk about a car that's blinking or flashing. If you see that happen on the screen where a car is there and it disappears, this is your first time watching a broadcast or paying attention to iRacing, that happens when a car is and that driver is having a connection issue. And the way iRacing handles that is it'll basically, that car will appear and then disappear and potentially bounce up and down on the track as the computer servers begin to try and figure out where that car should be in place. So we pay attention to that. I'll tell you, as a driver, it's very unnerving when you're driving along at 187 miles an hour and the car beside you or in front of you begins to flash or blink. So we'll keep an eye on that and see just what happens. So this is lap 24 of 77. We've had a great run of great stretch of green flag racing.
Groover and Lewis and Sebrands all trading the lead right now. Just when you get to be running 3 wide so equally, they're just bouncing back and forth who's in first and who's in second and third. So these guys are charging hard right at the moment, but I think they got their jitters out. They seem to be doing really well. That first line, the inside line, is still the best formed line. And then you get to the second and third, and it's not quite as organized, but those guys, they're making it work. That outside line only has 5 cars in it, but they're hanging in there.
So here at lap 25, our leaders, pretty much the top, well, the majority of the drivers last pitted on either lap 9 or 10. So they've got basically 15 laps of racing on this tank of fuel. We'll see at some point when they begin to get organized, and we may see some green flag pit stops.
See the 11 car up there of Kevin Lee, he's moving sideways across the back of that 20 car. And I'm guessing that he's probably making Daniel Lewis pretty nervous, because you just see that in your mirror. You see that car, there he is again, going back and forth. And he might be sticking his nose out to try to get a little bit of air into the radiator of that truck and keep that engine from overheating.
Well, that's very possible in these speedway races. The good news is that overall current track temperature was pretty low. And less of a chance of overheating with that air in the 60s and 70s. But if this was midsummer, July in Alabama, this kind of pack racing would just play havoc with your water and engine temperature.
That 5 truck of J.D. Crow is doing a great job pushing. I think that's the 02 that he's pushing, Seth Groover. But boy, he is staying pretty much locked to his bumper. He'll drop off, a foot or two, and then come back and be tight on him again. And that's helping that front line go forward.
Well, yeah, that's the 20 of Daniel Lewis and the 02 of Seth Groover. Now the 11 car of Kevin Lee has moved out in front. He made it past. It's almost a little bit like a Rubik's Cube, right? You're moving one way to go another way to get yourself up. You're basically trying to figure out how to get to the front. And he has worked his way there. So this is a league race. This is the first event, and with any race, just like in NASCAR, if you lead a lap, there are points associated with that. So I'm sure that if you lead a lap here, those points are valuable.
Yeah, and these guys are smart. They're thinking about this race, and every racer wants to win, but they're also thinking from a points perspective for the season, and they want to accumulate as many points as they can each and every race.
So to that point, the last thing you want is a DNF. You want to finish, even if you're finishing mid-pack, even towards the rear, every point counts.
That third line has kind of disintegrated now. Just two guys up there on top, and one of those bailed out. And I think the other truck's going to have to get down here pretty soon, or he's going to just get freight trained.
That's Eric Laurie in the 071. He's in line now. He realized that there's no room to be out there on that high line with no help. So.
Yeah, you could be driving a great race, and somebody leaves you hanging out there. You're going to go backwards in a hurry, no matter how fast your truck is and how good of a driver you are.
So just to give you an idea, so the winner, the pole sitter, qualified at around 55 seconds flat. And currently your leader, that's Daniel Lewis, just turned a lap of 51.13. So by yourself, at best, you're at 55 seconds. In the pack, you're at 51. So that 4 seconds is huge if you're running all alone.
Boy, I'll say. Jimmy Crow in the 16 truck, we talked about him earlier. He put this league together and leads this league. It's so interesting to watch him because he's out there dicing away, changing lanes, moving up, doing a great job driving, and at the same time he's on his radio talking to different guys, telling them if they need to change something they're doing or trying to keep the pack in order, that type of thing. So he's kind of doing double duty.
I think we're seeing our first takers. We've got a number of guys coming down here trying to get on pit road. They've got a pit speed limit, I think it's 55. So they're coming down from 185 miles an hour off turn 4 to 55 miles an hour as they try to get in their pits. So that's Seth Groover in the 02, Matt Swope in the 82 on pit road. You've got Daniel Lewis, Brian Rainville, Robert DuPont III, Jimmy Crawford.
It's interesting for those of our viewers that have never tried to do a pit stop before. You watch the pros on TV on Sundays, and they do a great job of it. But boy, when you get in there, going from 190 mile an hour down to 55 mile an hour, and doing it at the last possible minute
in traffic.
Boy, in traffic. It makes it tough. And these guys did a great job of that green flag pit stop.
All right, so we are at 32. We're going to probably see the rest of this field begin to work their way down onto pit road.
You see a lot of guys trying to get in that low line. Oh, caution comes out on lap 32.
Oh, gosh. Let's go back. I think it was Randy Marner. Let's take a peek.
Yeah, it sounds from the radio call like somebody was trying to get down to that bottom line and didn't let people around him know.
Let's back it up just a little bit. So we're on the back stretch. Let's see what we can see.
Yeah, that multicolored truck there starts slowing down to try to get in line, and the 45 comes up and gives them a push.
So that's the 83 And the 45 is Todd Siebels. 83 is Shane Posley. And he gets into the car. Forgive me, I can't see that car in front
I
quite
can't
yet.
see that number either.
It
There
is
it is,
1001. That's Randy Miner.
Yep. Randy does a great job trying to keep control of it, but at that speed, that's tough. Hits the wall with both right corners. 83 goes spinning up. He's going to make contact with the wall.
Looks like the field behind kind of makes it through. One does a good job. Minor, relatively minor contact, but
yeah.
All right, that's going to send the rest of the field onto.
Well, it looked like the 029 of Rick McKinney was somehow involved in that, and he was our race leader not too long ago.
I could be mistaken, but I think the 11 is getting a push in.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? I was trying to figure out if he was pushing him or he was mad at him. No, that's a push. He's trying to help him get to pit road.
He may have run out of fuel. So pretty much everybody who didn't pit before is back on the track. Those that did pit earlier, I'm sure they stayed out. So we are under caution here at lap 34. There are 44 scheduled laps to go in this event of 77 laps. We just had our third official caution of the night.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out here if Rainville or English is in the lead. One board I'm looking at says one and one says the other.
Right now, my current board shows the 44 of Anthony English is currently showing us the way.
Okay. He is definitely the truck behind the pace car.
He is. Brian Rainville in the 60 behind him.
Yeah, Sim Racing Apps shows Brian Rainville in the lead, but it may just not be caught up yet.
Trying to get you.
And iRacing shows Rainville as well.
Well, that may just be the case. We'll see how they line up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the ticker shows Rainville in second, so we'll see. It looks like he's heading for the pits anyway, so it's a moot point.
A couple of folks are back on pit lane. Anthony English is in. You've got Jimmy Crow, Brian Wang. They're again, like we talked about in that earlier round of pit stops. They're topping off because we had a pretty good run of green flag racing, and with only 44 laps to go, I'm guessing that means there's probably one more round. If we stay green, there's probably one more round of stops. I don't think you can go 44 laps, but I guess I could be wrong.
Yeah, they're forming up in twos now, so we're gonna go back green flag racing on lap 36, just one shy of the halfway point.
Lights are off on the pace car.
And looks like some guys are still trying to make their way to the pits. Oh, no, they're coming out now. They were blending out.
So we're coming up to the halfway point. Just a few laps here at the Superspeedway Kings in an opening event for their Season 8 here at Talladega. I'm Rick Souza, and I'm joined here in the booth by Jeff Neely. We are your broadcasters here for the IWM Broadcast Network. You can like and follow us on our YouTube channel. You'll also find us on Facebook as well as Twitch. We're here to bring you the Superspeedway Kings every Tuesday night at their events at Daytona and here at Talladega. If you like trucks, if you like superspeedways and the thrills and chills, you have tuned in to the right race.
Well, all boards are in agreement now. The 60 of Brian Rainville is in first place. He's going to be the control car on this restart. And the 82? 92 on the outside there of, I think that's Jorge.
Or George, is it George Rincon?
George
or Jorge?
maybe?
Jorge Rincon? Yeah. Well, I'm sure we're butchering his name. We'll fix that. So
we apologize for that.
Pace car is off, and it's up to Brian Rainville to be the control car and set the pace.
They're in the zone. Boy, they wait till the green flag.
Here we go.
Good restart by Brian Rainville. Jumps out to a 1 truck lead. But that second line is doing a good job of hanging in there.
Yeah, not quite as organized as the low line, but pretty close, Yeah, whoa, a little bit of dicing. Hold it.
Whoa, wow, I'll say. A
Yep.
lot of moving around there. Guys did a great job of avoiding a big pileup. That was in the front of the field, and that could have been a mess.
That would have been the big one.
All settled back down now into 2 reasonable lines. That second outside line has fallen apart. They've got 2 and 1.5, 2 trucks running together, and it's just a mess. The front part of it's starting to get together, and they'll get caught up again soon.
It's like the outside line is beginning to form. Just jumped up out of line and decided to join them.
That was a ballsy move, and he got up there and went to the lead.
You got 1 car that's now on the outside, 2 cars. Field's a little bit jumbled up right now.
His line deserted him. That second line turned into second and third, and when they did that, they fell apart. Now they're starting to fall back. Let's see if they can regroup and get back up there with that 60 truck of Brian Rainville here.
So we're just watching some.
Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say we're past the halfway point now. 38 laps. We're on lap 38. Only 4 cautions. Most of those early on. We had 1 recent caution, but 41 laps out of 77. 41 to go, and back into now. These outside lines are starting to form up and get organized and catch back up with the leaders.
That middle line is pushing out. That's the, I think it's a 7 car on his paint. That's James Mohan. I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong.
I think that's right.
Okay. Forgive me, this is our first night with these folks. We're doing our best to get your name right. If we're not getting it right when you go back and listen to the broadcast, or a friend or relative is watching, feel free to correct us in the chat and we'll get it right. So bear with us. We apologize if we butcher your name. So.
I'm getting some complaints from the drivers now about the 101 of Randy Miner doing a lot of blinking. We'll take a look. Oh my. I've got a little screen that tells me if somebody's blinking a lot, and according to that screen, Randy Miner has blinked 287 times.
Okay. So Mr. Miner's having some connection issues. You know, that's one of the things you can't control typically especially if you're connected to the internet, and you may be having weather in your area or just not a solid connection, we're broadcasting here. It happens to us as well. We do our best to avoid it, but things happen. So we hope that he can kind of get that corrected. So we are now at lap 41 of 77.
Sometimes you get in that camera angle where we're following the trucks, and it reminds me of that old game of Crack the Whip, where the line of kids is just weaving back and forth, trying to make that guy at the end get cracked loose. But these cars are doing a lot of moving around out there. And you talked about it earlier, about the way the air affects these cars. And it really does. You know, people at home sometimes will sit there and say, well, why don't they just hold it straight? Well, that's because they've got this big force called wind pushing on it. You know, sometimes it's pushing on the nose, sometimes on the side. You just never know where it's going to come from sometimes. And makes it difficult to handle these trucks. And then you're trying to be strategic and change lines with, you know, just a foot or so clearance. And it makes it pretty tough.
Well, these guys are just doing a fabulous job. If you like watching close pack racing, you're definitely here and getting a treat. These guys are really doing a fabulous job. But you're right. There's a lot of strategy happening here as guys look around and say, "Hey, who can I draft with? Who can I push? And should I be at this center lane? Should I move up to the high side? What's moving? Where's my best opportunity to get to that next position?"
Yeah, it's interesting because some of these guys out here are teammates with other guys in other leagues or that sort of thing. You have a lot of drivers in the Bootnaka League. You got TW Motorsports, Old Fart Sim Racing. Who else we have got? Grover House here tonight.
Wrecking.
Whoa,
Big wreck.
There's a big one.
Caution did not come out. It hasn't come out yet.
That's crazy.
That's surprising.
That's got to come out soon.
Well, this is a little surprise. A lot of guys were involved in that.
NASCAR's up in the tower trying to see if they can get it back together and get out of the way before they throw that caution, I guess.
So that wreck really split this field apart. Those guys who were leading these lines are now way up to the front. There's a pretty big gap. Let's see if we can show that gap here. It's nearly 2 second plus gap to that secondary group of guys.
Yeah, that secondary group then spreads out quite a bit too. Or more the third group, I guess. Yeah, 3 distinct packs now. And that it looks like the 60 is still in the lead. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we still got Brian Rainville. Yeah. There's about 8 cars that are currently right there together before we get back to that second pack, which are they're catching back up.
Yeah, this front pack has gotten split into 2 packs as well now. You got that group on the inside lane that's fallen back a little bit. They're trying to regroup and catch up. And you're back a couple seconds to that next pack, and then they get through, and it's a few more seconds back to the third pack.
Take a walk back through the field here. At that second group, that's the 16, the 69, and the 55. That 16 is Jimmy Crow, Brian Wang, and Dean Wilkerson. Behind them, you've got the group of Todd Siebels, Rick Sebrands, Luke Gray, Shane Posey. And then again, as we get further back, Rick McKinney, Al Cena, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Edward Fielder, and J.D. Crow is bringing up the next group. That's the 5-car J.D. Crow, the 101 of Randy Miner, and the 510 of Richard Sanchez. A little bit back behind him, you've got the 11 of Kevin Lee, the 92 of Rincon, the 26 of Reynolds, the 90 of Gary Jenkins, and the 19 of Zachary Workman, who's working together with the 82 of Matt Swope. They were, if they weren't involved, they certainly were caught up in the, well, Matt's got some significant damage on that vehicle. And it looks like his speed is a little off. So he was definitely hoping for a caution that did not come out. And right now, I'm sure he's just paddling to try and do his best.
And I'm sure Matt's trying to figure out why there was no caution thrown back there. That's this league has their cautions thrown by iRacing on as far as the norm goes, but I don't know if somebody overrode that or not. That's a puzzle. I've never seen a caution not come out on a wreck that big.
Well, if they all stayed going and they didn't make any contact or stop on the track, it's not going to bring out a caution, so they may have just let that ride. So here we are. We are lap 48 of 77. There are 30 laps to go here. We are back up front with your leader. Seth Groover in the 02 is currently showing in the lead, at least on my initial board, but there's a lot of slicing and dicing happening up with this lead pack. Those cars that we talked about earlier caught up, and now we're back to 3 wide with this lead groove. So they are about to run over, and there's another example of this race. That driver backed off. He dropped down below the yellow line to allow the leaders and the lead pack to make it by him without forcing them to make a move around him. That's good sportsmanship.
'60 of Brian Rainville is riding very close on Seth Grover's bumper there, trying to push him along, keep him out in front. The faster he makes Seth go, the faster he can go.
You've got the 000 of Giovanni Occhipinti. He is pushing behind the 20 of Daniel Lewis in the center line on the outside. Jimmy Crow Jr. is out there. He's being pushed by the 55 of Dean Wilkinson and the 45 of Todd Siebels and the 171 of Robert Rock complete that outside line.
It's interesting to see because that very first caution we had way back on, I think it was lap 4, Giovanni Occhipinti was one of the guys involved in that caution. And now here he is up front running for the lead. So super speedway racing, you can do things that you can't do on a normal track.
Well, we are now at lap 51. These guys last pitted at lap 33. So the question is, when do you come in? You know, yes. I guess we're thinking, and we could be completely wrong, that they can make it, they can't make it. So, you know, I'm thinking that they're going to need to come in and top off one more time before the end of this race.
Another truck dropping down to the apron to let that lead pack by. Just shows you the quality of racers that we have here.
So Les Levy chimed in on our YouTube channel, and he verified that all of those guys were involved in that incident where they dropped down below the line. So therefore, that did not bring out that caution flag. So that makes perfect sense.
Thanks for calling that into us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Les.
Just heard some talk on the radios about pit next time. So we're going to start seeing a green flag stop series coming up here. Be interesting to see who goes first. If they do fuel only, there's no tire advantage to pitting early. But they've all got, some of these guys.
Here's
a
couple. That's the 60 of Brian. Oh, slow down.
Whoa, oh boy. That 60 was burnt. He may need to change his tires now. He had to lock them up coming in there.
We'll take a break quickly and then we'll go back to the racing. Okay, so definitely right sides. Yep, definitely right sides and probably right sides and fuel.
That's what it looks like.
Yep, right sides and fuel. So Todd Siebels takes over lead. Daniel Lewis as well. This between the 20 and the 45. That's the inside lane and the high lane. Oh, the 171 dropped down. So we're going to see that's the 58 as well, getting out of the way of the lead pack. But I expect that we'll see another group of guys as we begin to chip into this fuel window to come back down and top off for fuel.
I didn't see anybody jump down there.
So Jimmy Crow is currently on pit road. Robert DuPont III is on pit road. But, onesie, twosies, not seeing a big crowd come down. Of course, some of these guys may be just waiting. If there's going to be a yellow flag come out, do we wait for that? I'm guessing based on past performance and what we've seen tonight, I wouldn't wait for a yellow flag hoping it's going to come out.
Yes. Seth Grover and Rainville are back out on the track now running together. They finally got hooked up. They were solo for a little bit. Grover lifted a little to let Rainville catch up to him, and now they're bumper to bumper trying to catch up to that pack.
It's unfortunate. I think Matt Swope just went a lap down with the number of guys as this group came in through. We've got Rich McKinney with the 029 and Eric Fielder with the 111 is in on pit road. So again, we're seeing a few takers.
Yeah, they're all going to have to come at some point in time. I don't think there's anybody out there right now that can make it on fuel other than the guys that just pitted.
That is correct. So 23 laps to go. Matt Swope did pit on lap 47, so I'm guessing he got his car fixed. Now we've got four guys on pit road. That's Daniel Lewis, James Mohan, Giovanni.
Seven.
And that's
7 spins around.
Yep,
I think that's actually the 48.
Is
that the car?
Yeah, his paint is a 7, but it's 48 in the scoring pylon. There's a number of guys who are currently
Yeah, that was James Mohan that spun there coming into pit road. That's hard getting woed up to get down to the pit road speed of 55. And you get too much brake in it.
He did not take care of that bit of nose damage he got. Hopefully that won't affect him.
Boy.
With the that's kind of the curse of death with these cars. You've got to take care of that nose. Now we got more takers here coming down pit road. So we're going to see the balance probably of the field coming down pit lane. That's Robert Rock, Dude Conrad, Dean Wilkinson, Tracy Weaver, Todd Siebels, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie. Just a bunch of drivers are now in. So that puts the
almost missed this pit.
Yeah, he sure did. So now you've got James Mayer currently showing out front.
Yeah, this is a big shakeup.
Yeah, well, it's expected to. It's expected to as these guys have gone in, got their fuel that they'll need for the past 21 laps to get back out. With this track being as long as it is, you can come in.
Here they come. Yep, they're coming in now. I thought they were still to take their pit stop, so here they are coming in.
This should be the balance of the field, and should be the last pit stops we'll see for the night.
It looks like Robert Rock in the 111 is going to be leading when this pit round is over.
That's what I show as well. So the 171 of Robert Rock. Carolina boy.
You got Rock, Seibels, Conrad, Wilkinson, Weaver, Butler, Laurie, and Cena. Well, two of those guys, Butler and Cena, no. Yep, Butler and Cena have not pitted yet. But the rest of those guys have pitted.
Oh, contact. 20 made some contact with the 45, left a little door stripe, little wheel mark on his outside. Little souvenir.
That's right. 111 getting a good push from the 45 and the 29 there, pushing them out to the lead.
So right now I'm showing the 04 of Mark Mann is currently on top of this, but that may... We'll see how that shakes out as we go through the next scoring loop.
We've got a few of the guys that we've been talking about all night that are up there in that lead pack now. Brian Rainville's up there in the 60, Seth Grover in the 02, Rick Seabrand's in the 4. Looks like their strategy is working well for them.
Okay, there's 3 cars that have now moved up to that outside line. Looks like we're going back to 3 lines here in a second. They're still jockeying and trying to figure out where they need to be.
Yeah, with 19 laps to go, it's starting to get me.
Well,
the teammate thing is great to a point, and pretty soon it's every man for himself.
So it's a little spicy. Right?
Hey, that's a good way. Good way to describe it. That makes me hungry, though.
Yeah. Well, I think they're hungry too. This is the first race of the season. Nothing better than a W to start you off. So.
Oh, I'll say. Lead the leg going into that first week off.
Yeah, I will say that this pack that's up front now is completely different than the guys we've seen all race long.
Yep.
So you've got Luke Gray, Mark Mann, Dude Conrad, James Meir, Seth Groover, although we've seen Seth before, but we've seen those top guys. Right now, we haven't seen much up. So they're making a late charge, 17 laps to go. They're doing good.
Yeah, you can see Seth Groover working his way up in the 02 car. Tracy Weaver, Dean Wilkinson, we've talked a little bit about. Brian Rainville, we've seen running up front tonight. There's still plenty of time to go for anybody in this pack to work their way up there. It's just all a matter of being able to predict what that air is going to do and time those runs just right.
Well, and the other thing is patience. You have, even though we've got 17 laps to go, now is not the time to make a dangerous or desperate move. You've got time.
Exactly. You've got the 02 and the 60 car out there trying to make a third row happen and getting that third line going, and they're doing a pretty good job of it too. I mean, they got out there and they're within a couple truck lengths of the leaders there.
Well, I think the unfortunate thing is that outside line's got 2 cars. Unless someone jumps up to help them, 2 is not a good number. 3 is a better number.
Right you are. They need somebody from that middle row to jump out with them, and
I just don't see that happening right now. They're the guys who are there.
The front
leaders
guys aren't going to change.
No, Mark Mann, Luke Gray, James Mayer. Yeah, those guys they've got their pushers. They're doing great. They're staying in line. We're seeing an excellent, really a textbook demonstration of pack racing and drafting right now. So.
Yeah. All night long, that inside line has been the place to be. It's been the longest line. It's been the most organized. And I have a feeling that that's going to come into play as we get down into the last few laps with 15 to go.
Let's see at the stripe who's out front, though. So this is an interesting. So it's close at the stripe. It's going to be very close. Right there, it's going to be anybody's race.
It looks like Luke Gray got the lead, followed by Mark Mann, Conrad, Seth Gruber, and James Mayer.
They are battling back and forth. Each line is kind of like a, push me, pull you. It kind of, each line begins to. Although now we're seeing that that low line begin to move out a little bit. That's 2.5 car lengths.
I'm still shocked that third line is able to stay that close with only 2 cars in it. Those guys are doing a great job. But and they made a liar out of me and dropped down.
Well, I think they took they realized that they were not going any farther than that, so they decided to. If you can't beat them, join them.
Yep. Well, here we go. They got 3 now. Yeah, that 02 truck jumped out in front. Oh, now the 60 truck went back down. So did that truck that was in the 3rd spot.
55 had moved up a little bit, trying to see if he could help out that truck on the outside, but that was short-lived. And he's still back up there. So what we're watching here, folks, this is the Super Speedway Kings Season 8 opener at Talladega Superspeedway. I'm your host, Rick Souza, joined here in the booth with my co-host, Jeff Neely. We are with the IWM Broadcast Network, and we're bringing you here this league every Tuesday night, and this is a Super Speedway league, so that means Daytona and Talladega each Tuesday night. This league is brought to you by their sponsors, Wow Video Tours, Over the Top Graphics, and Fort Worth Screen Printing. This is the Super Speedway Kings, and they just do a fabulous job. They were able to recruit all of these drivers from multiple leagues to come here and participate in this league, and we're just able to present to you some of the best that iRacing has to offer with these drivers and this kind of event. So stay tuned. We should bring this to you each and every week on Tuesday nights. If you are enjoying your broadcast, please like and subscribe, whether that happens to be whatever platform you're watching us on, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and get notified when our next broadcast comes out. Not only here with Super Speedway Kings, but on Wednesday night, we'll bring you the iRacing Warrior Motorsports Cup League, and that will be on Wednesday nights. So we appreciate you watching, and we're about to have what we think will be a fairly exciting finish with 11 laps here to go.
Yeah, at 11 laps to go, you got the 02 Seth Gruber and the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. Seth Gruber still trying to make that outside line work. And again, with 2 cars, they're doing a bang-up job of being able to keep up with that middle line. First line, I think, still has a bit of an advantage there. The 04 is doing a great job. Mark Mann in the lead right at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see if some of these guys can work their way up to the front. I mean, they're going to have to do it through the 2nd and 3rd line, because it seems like that's where the gaps are.
But we are 3 wide, tight racing, 10 laps to go, and it is anybody's race.
Now that outside line's got a little bit of help. They've got 2 more trucks out there. Yeah, the drivers are talking on the radio about we've got to work together. We've got to work together. 10 laps to go, and it's time to make something happen.
Well, we've got the 02 of Seth Groover followed tightly behind by Dean Wilkinson in the 55 on that outside line. The inside line is the 04 of Mark Mann, followed by the, who's pushing Mark? The 45, that is, I'm reading that right? Is that the 45 or the 95? That's the 95 of James Mayer.
Okay. Yeah, the 41 of Tracy Weaver's trying to help out there in that outside line. They've got 4 trucks out there now. Starting to see Groover's truck start to make his way up as they get better formation, better organization behind him. I think he's got a truck that could win this race if he can get the help.
Well, and don't discount that center line. That's the 29 of Luke Gray, and he's being pushed by the 8 of Dude Conrad. So we're seeing, again, any one of these 3 lines could work together and cross that stripe.
Yeah, this is, like you said, it's a textbook on pack racing at a super speedway.
Whoa,
there
wrecking,
we go.
wrecking.
60 car got tapped on the rear quarter, I think. Yeah, that was Brian Rainville, who was leading quite a bit early in the race. I think he got tapped on the right rear quarter.
We've got a number of cars with damage. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened. Oh, let's go. Let's back that up. Well, unfortunately, that is one of the challenges that you face with pack racing. We'll keep an eye here on the 60 of Brian Rainville, and we'll slow through.
Yeah, it looks like that gear wrench car. I can't make out the number. He's going to come down on him. There he comes. Starts to get him loose.
Well, I think
you can see him getting loose as the air gets to him.
Yeah, I think that's Daniel Lewis in the 20. I think they're both basically trying to occupy the same space. I think they were both involved in trying to fight for that same real estate. Unfortunately, that then collects the 41 and the 46. Yeah. Yep. The 510.
510 driving right in between them.
Yep. So some significant damage on that 60, and frankly, the 41 as well. It's got a lot of nose damage, I'm sure. But, all right, so let's go back to green flag racing. So we're going to see a number of those guys will be in with 7 laps to go. Probably most of those guys that were involved will need to come back in.
Yeah, I heard someone on the radio, I couldn't make out who it was, said, yeah, you and I were both going for that same spot. So you called that one, Rick. They were they maybe knew each other were there, but they were trying to position their truck where they thought they needed to be, and they were both doing it at the same time. We know how easy that is for that to go wrong in a hurry.
Well, we have 6 laps left to go. We've got a few folks who have gone in to get their vehicles repaired, get some tires after spinning out, and we'll be back with a little bit of a shootout, I'm guessing, pretty soon.
Boy, I'll say 6 laps to go right now. Probably going to be 3, maybe 4 when we go back to green. The 04 of Mark Mann still in first place, holding that lead, so he's tucked up tight to the pace car. Then 95 of James Meyer, Robert Rock in the 171, Luke Gray in the 29, and Todd Siebels in the 45, making up that top 5 that are going to be gunning for a good restart here. After that, we see Duke Conrad in the 8, Dean Wilkinson in the 55. We've talked about Dean some tonight. Again, Rick Seabrands, we've talked about a lot in the 4. Anthony English, and another one, past champion Gabe Butler in the 88. That makes the top 10. So 10 guys plus another 15 or 20 behind them that want a shot at this, with probably 3 or 4 laps to go when we come back. It's been really interesting to watch the strategy play out and the way these guys use their cars in the air to try to gain an advantage.
So we saw Luke Gray was the only one that happened to come down for, I'm guessing he's just coming in for fuel. I wonder if Luke is gambling on there maybe a green-white checker and he's looking for, he's topping off. We'll see.
I'll tell you what, the top 2, Mark Mann and James Mayer, both are running right at 40 laps now, so they've got to be right at the end of their fuel window.
Well, I don't know. I show Mark Mann and James Mayer both in at lap 57, so I think they're, well, I guess it all depends on what they're doing. I guess pretty much everybody has pitted. The top 14 pitted on lap 55 to 57, and then everybody below that was at lap 70, 71, which is just now. So
right.
Lights are off on the pace car, so this is pretty much going to be it.
Guy's running down on the flat there in the, what is that, the 111 truck to make sure he's got plenty of fuel spread out across the bottom of that tank.
Edward Fielder in the 111. Well, and of course, if you're in that position and you're looking to save fuel, you're doing everything you can to pop the clutch and kind of hold that, let that engine idle as you're going through these, and just try to save just a little bit of fuel in case this race does go to a green-white checker. You've got to have at least 5 to 7 laps of fuel in there once you consider the caution lap as well. So, we've got the pace car is now off the track. Our control car is the 04 of Mark Mann. And we are about to go back to racing. In the Geico restart zone. Here we go. Green, green, green. 5 laps to go here at Talladega for the Superspeedway Kings opening event here for season 8. You've got the
Mark
171.
There in the lead.
Yeah, he's got Robert Rock and the 171 pushing him. It's going to get a little dicey here as we come back to 4 laps to go.
Guys trying to form up that third line to get up to the front. The 071 is heading up that effort, but they're not able to get organized enough to catch up. That 04 and the 95 are just
they're trying,
running out in front. Oh, there goes somebody jumping up there. Four laps to go. 3 laps to go now. They just crossed the line.
That's the 83. The 83 is Shane Posey trying to start that third line on the outside.
That 171 of Robert Rock is looking. It's going, I got to get
There's a lot of movement in these lines. This is, I think my palms are sweating here. This is just, there's a lot of excitement here as we're coming to 3 to go.
I'm going to say there's going to be another yellow the way these guys are driving. They're driving well, but man, it's down to the wire now with 3 laps to go. Everybody wants a piece of that checkered flag. So,
Well, there can only be
It's
one
gonna
winner.
Be a wild one. That's right, and it's going to be a wild one to figure out who it is.
We are 4 wide now. 4 wide at the stripe. That seems to be a bit of a foreshadowing, I'm afraid. We are
still pulling the best.
We are solidly 3 wide here. Oh, definitely a little action there with the 55 and the 45. 55 just went up high. He's helping that outside lane. He's trying to get his piece of that opportunity to win this race. Here we come.
I thought the 45 and the 55 were going to go together, but they didn't. 55 jumped out and 45 stayed tucked in.
Markman is still showing, but that 45 is now moved out. Oh, wrecking.
Oh.
Wait, no. Oh, caution.
Get a yellow flag on this one.
Oh, yep. And this is the big one.
Oh, my. A lot of cars involved in that. 14 and the 8 right there. 95's out in front. Let's see where iRacing, where they threw the caution, who's in the lead right now.
That was significant. Let's take a instant replay here and try to take this back a bit and see if we can.
My grandson was in here. He'd say, "Look how fast those cars go backwards, Papa."
All right, I don't even know where to start here. Let's go back to the 60. Let's see if we can jump in Brian Rainville's. Let's do a far chase on him and just see. Let's see what Brian saw, because this is going to we're running at full speed. Let's see what Brian saw.
Yep. I don't know if that car went up because of a bump or he just went up on his own.
That was the 11.
Yeah, that middle car who caused that fender car.
That's the 029 there.
He was trying to come up to that second line and looks like he overshot. Maybe he didn't know the 11 was there.
Got a little bit into the door of the 11. 11 tried to hold on to it tightly, but then right ahead.
Pretty good job, yeah. There, I think the air pushes the nose again.
Yeah, I think. But before that, you can see there's a little bit of. It's actually the 46. Watch the 46 car just down below the 83.
Yep, he's coming up.
He comes up into the 83.
Pushes the 83 up.
Into the...
Just makes it tough for the 11. He gets into the wall, and then they're all going everywhere. Everybody's piling on now.
Reckon.
Matt Swoop got caught up in it again.
Yep. So did Lee, the 029 car. There's just a lot of carnage.
Yep. Looked like the 87 was in there.
Oh my gosh.
Look at all that.
It's still going on.
Race cars.
All right, so we'll go back to live action.
95 car, running right behind the pace car. James Mayer up in first place now. He's got the catbird seat for this restart. I'm assuming this is going to be a green-white checker. Yep, iRacing says it's a first attempt at a green-white checker. Yep. They'll give us 2 attempts.
We're going to go back real quick and try to pick up what happened with Mark Mann. I guess we saw the leaders were also involved in that incident as well. We'll go back, see if we can get a better shot of that incident.
Yeah, poor Mark. He was just running along there minding his own business in first place. And I'd be real interested to see what happened to him. My eyes were focused back in the pack, and I didn't see what was going on up front. Those two pit guys there having a conversation, not even working on that truck. The owner better have a talk with them.
We'll try to see if we can grab some information and try to pick up what happened with the leaders just in a second here, guys. So if you're just tuning in, we've had the big one. So we're trying to get back and just see what happened to our leaders, and we'll see what happened here. So there were two incidents. We caught the one that was in the back, but unfortunately there was also one up at the front.
And 45 comes down on him. Yeah.
Yep. And unfortunately this is the front.
Oh man.
What
First
a mess.
and second row there.
Yep.
Just,
pretty much.
Oh boy. Just obliterated that part of the pack.
Yep. And of course, at that speed, you're just caught up in it.
Yeah, you're along for the ride. You can try to miss, but it's a crapshoot at that point. Boy, and that wiped out the whole front pack, with the exception of the 95 truck and the 55 of Dean Wilkinson.
So a number of guys testing the strength of those roll cages. All right, so lights are off on the pace car. Sorry for that extended analysis of that big wreck, but we don't want you to miss a single bit. The pace car is about to drop off as we reshuffle the field completely. Now our control car is James Mayer, Dean Wilkinson, Jimmy Reynolds, Anthony English, Brian Rainville, George Rincon, J.D. Crow, Kevin Lee, Gabe Butler, and Luke Gray are your top 10 as we're about to go back to green flag racing with 3 laps to go. This will be a green-white checker. That means 1 lap, then the white flag will come out. Hopefully we get to that first lap cleanly, and that will be our race. We are green.
Here we go. Cross the line, we'll have 2 to go. Jimmy Reynolds in that 26 is sitting in a good spot. Second row, if he can stay tucked up tight to that 55 truck. Oh, there goes, he's at the 5 going up to make it 3 wide. He's got a little bit of help behind him.
That's J.D. Crow on the outside. You got the 95 of James Mayer. He's got a pretty good push with the 44 of Anthony English. That middle lane, we are back to 3 wide. Oh, wreck it again.
Oh, there they go. Oh, man.
Okay, we will we'll do this all over again as we this is our 6th official caution of the evening. Just a few laps to go, and
yeah, we talked about it probably mid-race about what the guys were going to stay organized. They were going to get along, everybody nice to each other, little give and take. And now the give is all gone and it's all take. It's time for me to get to the front, and everybody's got that idea. Back the tape up here and see what we've got, what happens here. This was another cluster.
Well, let's see if we can go back and get a feel for this. Oh, just some incidental contact.
Yeah, it looks like the 5 drifted down just a little bit, got into the 26, and they bounced off each other, and the rest is history.
Yep, that was
Crow. 5 cars able to get by, and
Jimmy Reynolds there, and then
piling up.
And Well, now we have a challenge, because not only are these guys going to be in the pits, now do you have enough fuel?
Yeah.
So right now we've got lots of cars on pit road, not only the guys who are wrecking, but we've also got a number of guys who need the top back off. No one counted on the fact that they weren't going to be able to finish this in regulation. Now this is our third attempt?
Second attempt. Checker.
Second attempt.
Yep. And we only get 2 in this league, so this is it. Once the green flag flies, the next flags, that's the end of the race. If they have another caution, the yellow flag will freeze the field, and that'll give us a great idea, or give us the final on who actually wins this shootout.
So right now, James Muir is showing at the top of the pylon. Anthony English in second, Brian Rainville in third, Robert Rock in fourth, Edward Fielder in fifth, Zachary Workman in sixth, Rick Seabrands in seventh, Rick McKinney in eighth, Tracy Weaver in ninth, Al Cena in 10th. Now, that may not be exactly how this shakes out, but that's how our scoring pylon has it. We'll keep you up to speed as that plays out, but this is it, guys. This is pretty much going to be how we finish. Hopefully we'll do this straight up with no additional wrecks. And
well, James Mayer running up front there, and he's held the lead for the last several laps. Good Pennsylvania boy right there. It's my home state, so it's nice to see somebody from Pennsylvania running up front.
So somehow Mr. Brian Rainville from the third position sent a message through that he is on fumes.
Oh, so, boy.
Yeah, good golly. Well, Brian, I hope you've got enough fumes to make it around. I know a number of folks have dipped down onto pit road to top off, but we hope you can make it. So Brian, James Mayer, Anthony English, both pitted last on lap 57. I don't know how they have enough fuel to make it.
Yeah, I don't either. That's just either good fuel management or an extra large tank, which I don't think that's allowed.
No. Well, and also, you know, sometimes in the heat of the and a number of guys have gone down pit road. Robert Rock, Edward Fielder, Zachary Workman, Rick Seabrands, and others have gone down. Dean Wilkinson. Those guys they've all topped off. We have a number of cars that have gone down then topped off. But you know, a lot of times that you're on pit road, you're in a rush to get everything together. You get your tires on, and you know you may not have put enough fuel in the car.
Yeah,
that happens.
That happens. You're right. Yeah.
Well,
we go down the backstretch here, get close to the restart. All of our questions will be answered shortly.
They will. We've got pretty much a green-white checker. That's basically 3 laps to go. Right now, Anthony English in the 44 is showing us the way. James Mayer in the 95. I guess he's our control car. The 44 of Anthony English on the outside. The 60 of Brian Rainville is sitting in third and behind our current control car of Anthony English. James Mayer.
If Brian Rainville, who told you he's running on fumes, I mean, he's up there second row inside lane. If he runs out of gas with all those guys pushing hard behind him, if he doesn't get down to the apron quick, that's going to be another disaster.
I think he's got it. He may just, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. All right, pace car is off. We're about to go back under green here. 95 of James Mayer is showing us the way. He's our control car. About to enter the Geico restart zone. Oh, getting a big gap. Oh, they're tightening it up. Here we go.
Got to get up on them.
Green, green, green.
60 got up finally, but boy, he was late getting to him and let that outside car get the lead. 44 of Anthony English was able to get up there. Now he's starting to fall back as the 60 gets in on the bumper of the 95, starts pushing him forward.
We're on the back stretch. We're hoping to come around and get our white flag. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's a lot of contact. A lot of contact. We are 3 wide as we are completing our 2 laps to go. Coming to catch the white flag here. We are side by side and nose to tail at 4 car.
Oh, wow. That was close. There is so much movement going on right now. Every position counts to these guys. You know, we see it in the real world, losing out in the playoffs by just a few points. That's what it comes down to at the end of the season.
Oh, wrecking.
44 came down on the 95. 44 saves it. 95 bounces off the inside wall. They're trying to get back into it, but their race is pretty much over.
Well, we're at the final lap here. Whatever happens, happens. Oh, the 60, he's out of fuel. He dropped off the track. He's out.
Oh,
Wrecking behind
them. They're just going to let him race it out, too. I like that. That's a good
call.
Well,
it's the final lap. That's the right thing to do. We've got the 19 being pushed by the 2, the 171 by the 029 of Rich McKinney. It's going to be close when we come back to the stripe.
Boy, I don't know which space I would want to be in right now, but
I think the 19 has got a great push by the 4. It's coming.
Is the 4 going to break out or not? He's trying to stay with him.
That was it.
Stayed with him right to the end.
He did. That's your winner, Zachary Workman, in the 19, followed by Seth Groover and Rick Seabrands.
What a race.
Oh, my gosh.
Guys did a great job, put on a great show for people watching the broadcast or watching in iRacing, and just superb driving. I know we had some yellow flags, but that happens in speedway racing. Just superb racing by these guys all night.
Oh my gosh.
We got off to a little bit of a rocky start with a couple yellow flags early, and everybody got the jitters settled down and came back. And it's interesting. Rick Seabrands and Gabe Butler finished 3rd and 4th. They were past winners that we've talked about, but doesn't seem like anybody else in that front group. We didn't talk about them early in the race. They came on at the end.
They sure did. They were part of that recycling as we began to run through pit stops and some earlier incidents that just completely got shaken up. So yeah, we're watching Zachary Workman celebrate his victory here for the opening event in season 8 with the Superspeedway Kings here at Talladega. We're hoping to get a word with our top 3 drivers. So they should be joining us in the weight room. In fact, we've got Rick Seabrands. Let me just bring Rick into the broadcast booth. Rick, welcome to the broadcast booth. Rick Seabrands, can you hear us?
Head forward, loud and clear. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish. That was a wild ride.
Boy, I tell you what a crazy race out there tonight. You know, this first race out the gate, you know, it takes everybody a little bit to get used to each other, but you know, the truck, this Alliance Motorsports Yeti Silverado was super, super fast out there. We're super fortunate to come back and get a podium, a top 3 here tonight with getting involved in an incident there late and getting back to the pits and the guys getting it fixed up. And yeah, just super fortunate to come out tonight, start out the season with the top 3 and lead some laps, and yeah, not too bad.
Rick, you were one of the guys that we were talking about most of the race. You were running near the front at least, and up front some of the time. What did it take to be able to stay up there consistently?
Well, you need so much help with these races. You know, when we cleared low there, I thought we were going to be okay because the 60 truck Rainville, he had a really fast truck out there tonight, and when he was on my bumper, I've raced with Brian quite a bit, and I know how he pushes, I know how he races, and I thought we were going to have a ton of momentum coming back, but I think he ran out of gas there late, which just left us by ourselves there, and then that just let the 19, the 02, all them guys get a good run there, and JD got back to me, and we kind of made a little bit of a race out of it, but then Zach cleared, and it was just on from there, man. Great job by Zach, by the way. Him clearing, get low, and pushing him to a win tonight, man. Great way to start the season.
Yeah, we were super impressed, and we just repeated on more than one occasion that this was a not only just the drafting aspect of it, but the strategy of pit stops and fuel. And of course, no one really predicts the fact that they're going to have multiple green-white checker attempts. So how are you fuel-wise?
Well, unfortunately, I think we got wrecked out there with about 4 to go left before the green-white checker. So when we came back to the pits, we had plenty of fuel to top off there. We actually needed some green-white checkers and a lot of help to get that track position back. Unfortunately, a lot of trucks got tore up, which allowed us to get that track position back. But on the other hand, it feels good to not be on the end of the getting a wrecked up truck and just salvaging a top 5 finish tonight off of after having some bad fortune like that.
Well, congratulations on your third place finish. Any shout outs you'd like to throw out there?
Yeah, I want to thank all the fans at home for watching. Congratulate you guys on a great broadcast. And I also want to send out our thoughts and prayers, and we're thinking about a fellow driver of ours, Sebastian, who's in the line of the hurricane. So he couldn't be out here racing with us tonight, and we really, really missed him out there. He's such a tremendous driver, and he would have been up front all night too. But yeah, we're thinking about him and praying for everybody's safety over there.
Amen. Absolutely, amen to that. All right, well, that's your third place finisher, and that's Rick Seabrands, and we thank you and congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's see if we can get Mr. Seth Groover. Seth was our second place finisher. Seth Groover, welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hi, Rick. How's it going?
Going great. Wow, you guys put on a heck of a race tonight.
Thanks. Yeah, that was pretty eventful, to say the least.
Well, that was very kind of you to put it that way. Yeah, we saw definitely a lot of action early on as new guys got their feet wet with this league, and then some patience occurred, and we got some great green flag racing, and then of course all that drama at the end there.
Yeah. Overall, it was kind of the first race of the season, so we're all kind of getting used to each other. A couple new faces in here, but we did have a couple good green flag runs. Overall, I mean, it was it was pretty. There was so many these trucks. You can get really big runs with them. So if two cars, it's got a nice tandemness to it. So it was, that's how this race felt to us, really. And yeah, it was just kind of sloppy from everybody's end, but we'll try to fix it up.
Yeah, absolutely. But we saw that, and you're right. We saw what we were surprised by was the fact that the outside line with two trucks was pretty much capable of hanging on with the lower lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this package, you really have to pinch to get that run. You really have to side draft a lot. So I think we were running pretty tight to what we normally run. But yeah, that's what I love. I love them tight 3 wide, 4 wide stuff. I'll tell you that much.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to. Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry there, Rick. It looked like we had a couple guys that tried to side draft each other at the same time and ended up going for the same spot of real estate and ended up causing a bit of a tussle back there. But it was really interesting to see. You could tell who knew how to use their truck and who maybe was still trying to feel it out. You'd see some guys going back and forth a lot and going maybe a little too quickly. Then you'd see other guys that knew how to inch up, side draft a little bit, get a run, and get away from them.
Right, yeah. And that just takes practice, And luckily, I have a twin brother who I practice with a lot. His name's Patrick. Maybe he'll show up for a couple of these races, but we get to practice a lot drafting, and it just takes that practice of knowing how close you can get without touching them. And you have to have some control in your car too. But
Absolutely. So, any shout outs?
yeah, I think my parents were watching. Karen, she might have been on YouTube land there, but I want to shout
She
to
is.
them.
Yep, she just commented. So
Sweet. Yeah, and Patrick, I think, was watching from his house too. So yeah, and thank you, Jimmy, for that. I know he's kind of disappointed in it, but we'll try to improve it for next week.
sounds great. Well, congratulations. That's your second place finisher, Seth Groover.
Congrats, Seth.
All right, let's see if we can get our winner in. That's Zachary Workman. 1 second here. Zachary, welcome to the broadcast.
How's it going, guys?
Great, congratulations.
Great.
That was a heck of a finish.
Yeah, we got a little lucky with our lap back there, 2 cautions, and the one caution we just went through the grass and made it through and somehow found ourselves 6th right there. Yeah, we got pretty lucky there. I was working with Anthony and Jim right there, the 2 leaders. Just accidentally got into Anthony right there at a bad time and hooked him in the gym. Would rather have him win than me crash someone and do that. So feel a little bad, but we'll take the victory.
Yeah, no, completely understandable. It's first race of the season. You've got some new faces out there. They're always going to have a little bit of guys getting used to running with each other, and you know what? It was pretty dicey. So
yeah, it's just the first start of the season. It's a little rough, get rough along the edges, but we'll clean it up and we'll have some good racing here soon. I'm really confident in this group of guys. Nobody stands out as someone as a problem. Everyone's fine. So
I saw a lot of good racing tonight, Zachary. I don't think you don't have to wait till late in the season. You guys put on a good show tonight. Like Rick said, it was a little wonky early on, but you guys got it together and had some good green flag runs in there, which gave us green flag pit stops, which really mixed the field up a little bit and made it exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jimmy Crow works hard on this league, so we want to put a good show on for him and you guys. So, we'll get it together next week.
well, we're looking forward to it. So, any shout outs you'd like to throw out there?
Shout out to the team I was running with, Rick, Jim. Unfortunately, I got into him, and Anthony there at the end. Still sucks for those guys because they were looking good. Mark Mann, David Overstreet, kind of the guys I run in different leagues with. So it was fun running with them. Thankful for those guys letting me in. All the fans watching this wonderful broadcast. I watched last week. You guys are great, man.
Oh,
Up and coming, and just I'm really glad you're fucking doing this for Jimmy and all of them. So that's great. And then got to thank my parents. They support every league I go in. So can't wait to watch the broadcast later too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations on your win. That's your winner. And we hope to see you next week.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you, Zach.
Congratulations, Zach.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So I think let's bring Jimmy Crow in. Jimmy's who runs this league, and give Jimmy some chance to talk about next week. And let's see what we got here. Jimmy, welcome to the broadcast booth. That was a heck of a first race here for season 8.
It was pretty rough. I was just thinking, I want to say that was probably our worst season opener in 8 seasons. It was a little too many cautions there, and I don't know what was going on. We normally don't wreck like that, I promise you.
Well, I think it's completely understandable. It's the first race of the season. You've got some new drivers that are part of that, but things happen, and you know what? For some of those folks who are tuning in maybe for the first time, they saw lots of excitement and a lot of drama. So I'm sure they'll continue to tune in, and we'll see more.
Oh, so, yeah, we'll get it clean. We'll get it cleaned up. Like I say, I don't know what was going on tonight. It was weird, especially having 2 cautions in 10 laps. We hit our 40 lead change average, but our caution count was a little high. I like to kind of at least stay around the 3 or 4 range, but other than that, we'll get it cleaned up.
Jimmy,
sure.
I found it pretty interesting. I mean, you're driving in this race, but you're also trying to manage the race from that 30,000 foot level. And after one of those early cautions, I think it was the one around lap 10, I heard you come on the radio and in a very nice way tell the guys to get it together, that it was time to straighten up, no more cautions, let's pull this together and get a good race going. And it seemed like they listened to you, because then we went another 20 some laps before we had another caution again. So it was just getting the jitters out, I think, just that first race, and people had to settle down. You had some new guys, and I thought overall it was a good show, though.
Yeah, I get pretty animated. Like, my thing on iRacing, and people that know me, I do iRacing for everybody else. My whole goal is for everybody who comes in that room to have a good time. Like, say, I got wrecked, but I was just happy it didn't bring out a caution. I care so much about everybody's experience, and so that's why I'm a little hard on myself and want good racing. And I know we're better now. All them names in there have ran plenty of super speedway races. Yeah, just having minimal mistakes like that, but we'll get it cleaned up.
So tell us about next week.
Oh, next week we're gonna fire it up. We'll be back at Talladega next week, and hopefully we can do better, because I prefer to have my low caution races before we hit Daytona, because we'll be 3 wide at Daytona too. We're not scared to go 3 wide. We just got to clean up the wrecks, but you'll see some 3 wide at Daytona for sure.
Good
All
deal.
right.
But definitely appreciate you guys for calling the race. I was listening to the broadcast while I was sitting on pit road after that wreck, and y'all do a mighty fine job, and thank you to all the sponsors.
Thank
That's
you
right.
so
We
much.
Can't do it without the sponsors.
All right. All right, that's Jimmy Crow. He runs this league, and certainly we really appreciate his feedback and that little bit. We're gonna be back here next week, do this all over again. We'll see these same drivers out here bringing you the same chills and maybe fewer spills next week. But we enjoyed it. It was a great race to call with you, Jeff. Just a lot of fun out here with these guys. So.
I really enjoyed it. I know that we got off to a little bit of a rocky start with yellow flags and that sort of thing, but I'll tell you what, these guys put on a great show tonight. I think the fans had a lot of excitement. They had drama. Like Larry McReynolds says, he wants a little bit of drama, he wants a little bit of excitement, and he wants some strategy. And I think we saw all 3 of those things tonight.
We absolutely did. All right, folks. So thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate all of you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for tuning in. We ask that you like and follow the IWM Broadcast Network, and we'll bring you back next week with the Super Speedway Kings again Tuesday night, same time, same channel here at Talladega. So I'm Rick Souza with my co-host Jeff Nini saying good night and God bless. Thank you.